Okay, praying to the God of Jonah. I told you that was coming up soon. Guess what? We're going to put this all together for you. So I don't know if this is going to come up soon at exactly the same time or it's going to come up soon later. But we're going to get this done. What will it take for you and I to admit our need for God? In Jonah 1, verse 13, instead, the sailors rowed even harder to get the ship to the land. I talked about that in the previous point and episode. But the stormy sea was too violent for them and they couldn't make it. Then they cried out to the Lord, Jonah's God. Now, I just want to sit on that for a minute. Jonah was resistant, running and escaping from God. But even in his resistance, even in his stubbornness, even in his unbelief, Jonah still made the God that he worshiped known. I know for me, I oftentimes say when I get the kids set, when we get enough rest, when my finances are in better shape, when I'm able to finish getting this project done, then I'm going to reach out to people. Then I'm going to open my eyes and see people. And you know, Jonah wasn't doing well, but he still was making God known. And I think it's because Jonah, in the middle of his resistance, did not deny God. He didn't stop reading his Bible. He didn't stop praying. He didn't stop trying to be spiritual. He was just stuck on a disagreement with God. He was stuck in unbelief. But he wasn't bagging God altogether. I think if we're really faithful to God, even when we struggle, we can make him known. But these guys being around Jonah, even though Jonah wasn't doing great, I know I'm repeating that, but I want to make sure you understand, Jonah was not having a great spiritual day or weekend. But still they went, we're going to cry out to the Lord, Jonah's God. They went from their powerless gods to we want to pray to Jonah's God. When we're praying through our storms, when we're praying through the physical challenges, the health challenges, the financial challenges, the loss of life from the pandemic or other diseases, when we're praying through the discouragements and the disappointments of life, the disillusionments of life, and then we're emerging out of those storms with more faith, then guess what? People are going to look and say, I'm going to pray to your God. Then they cried out to the Lord, Jonah's God. Oh, Lord, they pleaded, don't make us die for this man's sin and don't hold us responsible for his death. Oh, Lord, you have sent this storm upon him for your own good reasons. These guys went, look, God, we know you're God. We're good with you, God. We don't want to die because this dude won't repent. So don't let us die because it's going to repent. This is between you and him. We just want to make that clear. They were kind of like, we know Jonah's God's awesome. We're not so sure where Jonah's at. We're not so sure where Jonah's at. And then guess what happened? Their prayers led to the stopping of the storm. Praying to stop the storm. How are you handling your storms? Jonah 1:15. Then the sailors picked Jonah up and threw him into the raging sea, and the storm stopped at once. So see, the sailors cleared it with God. They go, we don't want to die for this guy's sin. This guy said throw you over. And you know what's good? Jonah actually admitted it was his fault. Remember that? He admitted it was his fault. And he said, throw me into the sea, it'll end. He always knew who and he always knew why. He knew why there was a storm and he knew who caused the storm. And he knew I'm the guy he's after. God was hunting Jonah. Not to kill him, but to bring him to his call to greatness. To say, Jonah, you're the guy. God could have just went back, Jonah. He ran away. I'm going to pick a new guy. That's not how God is. If you think God's given up on you, you are wrong. You are wrong. Who says so? Jonah. Jonah, he just said, no, I'm not doing it. And God said, well, I really think you are. No, I'm not. Well, I really think you are. No, I'm not. Here's a little storm. No, I'm not. Here's some sailors that want to believe. No, I'm not. Here's some sailors that want to believe that are going to throw you in the sea. Then the sailors picked Jonah up, threw him into the raging sea, and the storm stopped at once. You know, sometimes we look at our family and we have storms. We look at our relationships, we have storms. Maybe what we have to do is admit we caused the storm. And go into the middle of the storm and pray through it and say, God, I've learned my lesson. Please stop the storm. The sailors were awestruck by the Lord's great power. Look at all the faith the sailors are getting through Jonah's experience. Sometimes we think when we're struggling that it's bad. No, sometimes when we're struggling, sailors can see. The sailors were awestruck by the Lord's great power, and they offered him a sacrifice and vowed to serve him. Look at this. They went like, whoa, this God is the God. And what did they do? Look at this. It's often missed. They vowed to serve him. They said, from now on, you're our God. Jonah was resistant, refusing, running away, escaping, and he ends up causing a whole ship of sailors to go, we're going to follow God. Now, the Lord had arranged for a great fish to swallow Jonah. Now, it was good that Jonah had been used by God to get the sailors to believe. So that proves that we can cause people to believe despite ourselves. But God said, okay, I got the sailors set, but I'm not finished with you. The storm has stopped, but you and I have some stuff to work out. Now, the Lord had arranged for a great fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and 3 nights. You know what we're going to be talking about going forward? We've talked about praying through the storm in 3, 4 different episodes, and I hope you really use it. But we're going to talk about what happened in that great fish. What happened in that great fish? I think in that great fish, Jonah had to work through his pandemic stress, his pandemic fear, his pandemic uncertainty, his pandemic loneliness, his pandemic loss, the people who died, his pandemic temptation for fight or flight. Jonah chose flight. Have you chosen flight? Let's keep working. Let's not quit on Jonah. The great fish, the sailors, Jonah, and Nineveh. What a story. What inspiration. I hope all we've talked about will make you a person who prays